as far as the sugar, all right? And it's candida. It creates a lot of candida and bacteria. So we have to refrain from the refined sugar and get to the point where we're getting into fasting and we're cleansing ourselves. All right, so we're going to talk about autoimmune diseases. I'm going to read something. This is from the Holistic Guide to Wellness, because one of the ways they attack the gods and goddesses primarily is through autoimmune diseases. Most people aren't aware that primarily who's affected by autoimmune diseases the most is the divine feminine. All right. Most aren't aware of that. All right. So it's estimated that about 50 million people, about 20% of the total population, suffer from an autoimmune disease in the United States alone. This number may be even higher as many people are unaware that they have an autoimmune issue. It states that autoimmune diseases are known to affect females more than males. 75 to 80% of those with an autoimmune issue are female, but current males may have higher than reported rates. It states that the autoimmune disease type 1 diabetes affects an equal number of men and women, however. All right. So what exactly is an autoimmune disease? Okay. Autoimmunity is the process of antibodies made by B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes directed against the human body. So basically what an autoimmune disease does is it attacks the healthy parts of your body as well. So the white blood cell's job typically is to suit up and affect anything nefarious or cynical. But when you have an autoimmune disease, it doesn't know what's good or bad. Okay, if you catch my drift. All right. So then your body basically starts attacking itself. And a lot of times that happens with the food we consume and everything of that nature. All right. These bodies are technically meant to be eternal. All right. There's 8 eternals in the Tao. They believe in eight immortals. OK. And there was a gentleman by the name of Count Saint Germain. They actually lived to be about 500. But reports actually indicate that Count Saint Germain looked like he never aged above the year of 45 years of age. OK. Which means that we have the ability of actually activating this where we can replenish and rejuvenate these avatars. We can actually do things like Wolverine and Deadpool through regeneration. Simeon Toko was regenerating when the Cabal made their attempts to kill him. Okay? So these bodies are miraculous. The problem is they just have been attacking us consistently. All right? But as we ascend through Christ consciousness, our objective primarily should be utilization of a lot of herbs. Utilization of a lot of herbs and intermittent fasting is going to be one of the most important things that we're going to have to learn how to do. Is to stray away from that food. If you can go a whole day without eating the food, even better. Count Saint Germain is probably still alive. That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay, so you got an autoimmune. Okay, so here's some things for an autoimmune disease, gods and goddesses. I'm going to share with y'all. Reishi, Granderma lucidium. Okay, it's mushrooms, very powerful mushrooms. Lion's mane, Hericium erinaceus. I talked about lion's mane mushroom a lot for decalcification as well as activation of the pineal gland. But lion's mane mushroom is a neuroprotective and is known to help nervous system degeneration, decrease gut inflammation, boost brain function, lessen stress and anxiety, and help repair damaged nerve cells in the spinal cord and brain. Studies demonstrate great potential for myelination and regeneration of nerves. Research shows lion's mane mushroom stimulates nerve growth factor, NGF, which is crucial for the repair of the protective fatty coating surrounding nerve fibers known as the myelin sheath. It has even been shown to help reduce symptoms of Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. So, I mean, lion's mane is phenomenal. And that's why I promote lion's mane so much. Turkey tail is another one. Turkey tail is something that actually is phenomenal for fighting things like cancer. Like I was saying, the movie Fear. Turkey tail is something that's phenomenal for fighting things like cancer because it's rich in polysaccharides, okay? So if you know somebody with cancer or anything like that, get them on turkey tail. Start taking herbs like turkey tail, all right? Cordyceps. I made you aware. Cordyceps militaris will fight diabetes. If you start utilizing cordyceps, it will fight things like diabetes, all right? So, I mean, these are some of the herbs you can start utilizing if you have an autoimmune disease, and it's going to actually help you fight a lot of those nefarious ailments and some of those machinations that these deletes are throwing at us. Because this is the thing, you have to remember, we're dealing with archons. Their primary objective is to usurp Lush. If they can keep you at dis-ease or discomfort, then you're emanating that amber light frequency, that malevolent low frequency, which the Garabat are attracted to. Okay, which are the archonic forces. They're attracted to that amber light, basically that Jinn energy. This is another reason why they keep us sick. If we're vibrating in a high frequency and we're elated, it's at a point where our frequency is too high. All right. They can't survive at 528 hertz, which is the love frequency. So we have to keeping ourselves clean is going to be something that's very essential for these days to come. Making sure that we're eating clean and that we're fighting all parasitic organisms. Again, the parasites, gods and goddesses, are manufactured. They're basically literally taking parasites and going in a petri dish and creating different things to put in the processed foods. So when you consume it, these parasitic organisms attach to your colon, increase in size, and then travel through your neural network to increase what's called CNS or Toxoplasma gondii. Again, that's the brain parasite. These draconians' objective is induction of the hive mind. All right. They want to basically have the ability of emanating certain frequencies through 5G towers and certain nefarious technology to where they can implement mind control or MK Ultra. All right. And again, this is induced through the food. Most of the toxic metals like the lead, cadmium, the mercury, it starts to line up in your spinal column, right? Those toxic metals get to laying in your spinal column. Then when they emit certain frequencies, you become a walking satellite. Follow me. You become a walking radio transmitter when they start emanating those ELF waves, which are extremely low frequencies. Dr. Delbert Blair talked about these a lot, all right? He was ahead of his time, all right? Rest in peace to the elder. Dr. Delbert Blair talked about EMF protection way before they had him. He had them in the back of cell phones way before and talked about how the 5G towers and all of that was nefarious technology that these deletes put down here to affect our neurophysiology and our ability to connect with Christ consciousness. You feel me? So we got to get to the point where we're keeping crystals like orgone, shungite on our desk. We're utilizing things like red dragon resin, okay? I told you I have the red dragon resin on Holistic Remedies. This is something phenomenal for spiritual protection and psychic attacks, okay? This is something that's also going to increase your auric field once you start to burning it and using it. It's magic. It's literally what the dragons utilize. It's from a dragon tree. Planet Tiamat is a dragon planet. It's important that you know that. Okay, so it's a lot of magic on this planet that a lot of people are unaware of. And you may just consider it something crazy, but a lot of this is ancient magic, because also remember that the frequency of the planet is increasing. Everything's waking up again. All right, which means that we're elevating. Now, one thing you got to know, and I'm going to tell you something that's important. They don't want you to really know how powerful the melanin is. And really, most of everything has been an attack on the melanin. All right. A lot of the child trafficking, a lot of everything that transpires, not just for adrenochrome. Melanin is worth more than gold. OK. All right. Melanin is worth 348, probably worth more now. All right. The price probably went up, right, since last I checked. But I know it's worth more than gold. OK. Now, this is the book that the late Dr. Layla Africa actually had about melanin and how powerful melanin is, and how the pharmaceutical industry utilized certain nefarious additives, all right, to actually have a detriment on the melanin, all right, because once the melanin is produced, melanin is actually the pineal gland secretes melanin. Okay, so let's do a little bit of math here. The pineal gland is responsible for secretion of melanin. So when they affect the pineal gland, they're affecting your production of melanin. Now let's back up a little bit and discuss neuromelanin, which is the glue to the cosmos. This is secreted through dopaminergic neurons from the substantia nigra, which is connected to the cerebrum, pardon me. All right, we're going to get into that. And that is the glue to the cosmos. Your brain secretes that naturally, right? So this is the thing. You have something in you. This is ancient. This is ancient as something that holds together the cosmos. You feel me? Think about that. Really think about that. They don't want you to know this. So they dumb down the quality of melanin. And again, we were bright color blues and golds, greens, reds. We were very vibrant colors before they put a lot of nefarious toxins in our air and oxygen and different things of that nature to discolor us. This is why Osiris, you see him green. Okay? You see him green. He's green because the melanin was a different color. We were very synonymous to plants. We were very synonymous to plants. Gods and goddesses, this is facts. All right, so when you see different aliens and they say the little green men, that they referring to us, really, real talk. And when you talk about little green men, we talking about the Twa. All right, because they some of the most ancient beings. But again, if you go back in time, they were green and stuff like that. The original leprechauns. They don't want you to know this, like the pygmies and so forth, that they assassinated on St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day, pardon me. And that St. Patrick's Day was all about the pygmies and stuff and how they went over there and killed them off. Some of the most ancient people. And you know that they had ancient relics, ancient history, ancient sciences and things of that nature that they probably usurped. Probably have a lot of that information in the Vatican, right? They hold a lot of the ancient documents in the Vatican. All right? So when we read on melanin here, I'm going to just read y'all this real quick. I got to share this. It says, melanin is an organic, dark, carbon chemical pigment substance. Melanin gives black people's eyes, iris, a brown color and gives the dark color to their hair, skin, and the substantia nigra of the brain. This is an area of the brain where the cerebrum connects to the pons. Melanin is secreted by the pineal gland. The pineal gland has a pine cone shape, is reddish in color, and the stem of it is approximately ½ an inch in length, and the head of it is slightly smaller than a green pea, and the total weight is about 2 grams. The pineal gland consists of nerve cells similar to those in the retina nerve of the eye. The retina nerve is inside the eyeball and receives light stimulation, which it transmits to the brain. The pineal gland is found inside a fluid-filled space inside the middle of the brain called the third ventricle, and it is attached inside the ventricle. The pineal stimulates the growth of the nervous system's cerebrum, thinking brain part, and called gray matter. Therefore, an understimulated pineal in childhood can decrease thinking ability in adulthood. Okay, follow me. The melanin content of the nerves is highest in black people. Melanin allows nerves to message travel fast without resistance, causing superconductivity. Okay, again, we are conductors of electricity. We are Thor. We are Raiden. We are static. Black lightning. This is why oftentimes they show people of melanin with electric abilities. All right, this is facts. I'm just speaking facts. Now, again, if you have brown eyes or brown hair, you have a eumelanin, because melanin is associated with things that are dark pigment, all right? Okay, so people have the highest amount of melanin on the upper part of the spinal cord, brainstem, where the lower part of the brain connects to the spinal cord. The melanin concentrates on the brain. Locus ceruleus is the fourth ventricle in reticular formation, black dots. You heard about Bobby Hemmett mention a black dot that causes the brain to store more information, almost like little solar panels, fam. Okay? And information and function at a high level. The function of the body's melanin and the brain's melanin is reduced by steroids, cortical adrenal stimulants, synthetic speeds, cocaine, caffeine. Okay, so coffee is weakening your melanin. Okay? Caffeine, anything with caffeine is weakening your melanin. All right? This is the things they don't want you to know. All right? Why you can't dream. If you drink a lot of coffee, why you can't astral project. Why you can't get into these ethereal planes of consciousness. All right? It's primarily from what we're consuming. Their objective is desecration of the God body. It's important that, listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. It's important that I have this book on holistic remedies. All right? If you're interested, link in bio. What I recommend is getting your book game up and putting your phone down sometimes and getting away from the blue light. Sometimes get away from the blue light and take that time to read a little bit. Go out if you're not in a warm region like me. I understand I'm in Florida, but oftentimes I'll go out, sit in the grass, and I'll just read instead of having my phone. All right. When we even have our cell phones in close proximity to us, the radiation is affecting us to some degree, which is also hindering the dopaminergic neurons. All right. Now we're going to study this on a scientific level so we fully understand all the machinations that these deletes are doing. All right. When you go out in the sun every 8 minutes and 30 seconds, you're actually receiving cosmic downloads and you're also strengthening your melanin while you're in the sun. This is why they're implementing simulators and stuff, because of the power of the melanin. All right, they fear this. All right. So again, we're gonna keep going into this. We're gonna keep delving in and studying. Hopefully, y'all writing and y'all taking notes, because this is very powerful information. It's a lot of information that's gonna be in this lecture tonight. So I'm hoping that y'all really tap in. Another time I'll do a Convos with the Collective. This is important and Spirit wants me to share this information. All right, so get your pen and paper and really delve in. Now, the pineal helps to regulate the hypothalamus glands. Release factors to stimulate the pituitary to secrete the follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, and aids the luteinizing hormone, LH. FSH stimulates the ovaries and the movement of sperm. And OH stimulates the egg and sperm production. Okay, so now I'm going to back up a bit so you can understand. This is why they utilize endocrine disruptors, okay? So melanin is associated with your hormones and your endocrine system. Your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and your pineal gland. Okay, all of this is associated with your endocrine system. This is why they use things like atrazine as well as glyphosate in the water and the herbs. Okay, follow me. What the glyphosate and the atrazine has been doing is actually making frogs. Frogs have the most sensitive endocrine systems in nature. Okay, so frogs are going to notice it first because they have open pores and things of that nature. They're going to notice it in their endocrine system first. All right, so what the male frogs were doing were converting to female frogs. They were switching their genetic sequence, and they were actually converting more to feminine. All right, and also they discovered that when the serotonin levels were uneven in the brain, it created male-on-male attraction, which wasn't common. All right, so when you see places like Atlanta or places that's heavily associated with that ideology, you have to question whether it's some form of chemical attack by way of glyphosate and atrazine and endocrine disruptors to affect the neurophysiology and the serotonin levels in the brain to create that effect for population control reasons. Okay, follow me. This is facts. This is things they do for population control reasons, because not only does these endocrine disruptors affect your ability to produce children, but they also affect your ability to actually want the opposite gender, if that makes sense. All right, they'll actually affect your chemical levels to where you want gender and gender attraction through chemicals. All right, they study different chemicals, just like we know herbs. They study nefarious chemicals and ways they have adverse effects. This is why they hurt the holistic doctors. People like Dr. Sebi, individuals such as myself that want to share with you different herbs to help you curb autoimmune deficiencies and things of that nature. This is why they attack us. This is why Big Pharma is so prevalent and why they silence holistic medicine. If you go to a hospital right now and you ask the doctor for some natural alternatives, they're not going to want to tell you anything. Why? Because they get paid extra money from Big Pharma to lie to you, to tell you to take the over-the-counters. All right? There's a good one on Netflix. I forget the name of it, but it was about opiate addiction, an opiate crisis, and how Big Pharma actually won $1 billion case or something because opiates was killing everybody. And the people tried to fight against Big Pharma and lost. They're the biggest hustlers, bigger than heroin, bigger than crack, bigger than anybody. Big Pharma is, all right, by far. And they'll knock you off if they don't like your message. If they don't like what you're saying in regards to being a holistic practitioner. Over 50 holistic doctors were dead within 1 year around the time that the C-19, and around that time everybody was covering their mask. They bodied about 50 of them for coming out and telling people how natural ways that they could fight the viruses and infections and things of that nature. They was shadow banning me left and right when I was talking about ways to actually fight different infections and viruses and things of that nature. All right. So one of their primary ways of getting us is through food and addiction and consumption of food and what we're putting in our avatars. This is important. All right. Now, listen, if you want to integrate cosmic light, your objective is to become that Magneto, to become that storm, to actually tap into your previous primordial energies. We have to get to the point where we're no longer trusting their food. We have to get to the point where we're getting the necessary sustenance in herbs. All right. Things like shilajit, which has 85 plus trace minerals. All right. Things like sea moss, which has 92 plus trace minerals. Mineral deficiency is one of the biggest reasons for certain dis-ease. That's a fact. It's primarily mineral deficiency. All right. But let's see here. Now, again, most of this is primarily crushed on the melanin. They attack the melanin primarily. If your melanin is healthy, you're healthy. All right. If you have unhealthy melanin, no matter, and again, this isn't all about the color of your skin, guys and guys. This is deep in the mind and the chemical makeup. You could be black as hell and have unhealthy melanin. All right. So follow me. This is about the way you're eating and what you're consuming in regards to your powers and your abilities in touch with the cosmos. Melanin is a lot deeper than just the melanin, which is on the surface in regards to our color and the melanocytes that create that color. We're talking about cosmic abilities. All right. Did you know that the average human releases about 100 to 150 watts of electricity on a consistent basis? 100 to 150 watts. Now, if your melanin is healthy, if you're grounding, then that will increase. All right, because they put certain things around our clothes and stuff to actually weaken our electron count. All right, and that's a fact. They put things on us to weaken our electron count and all that. Now, if you have some, I'm gonna answer some questions too. They got fined $12 billion and they gave that to the rehabs. I believe you. I don't doubt it. Polyester, wool actually can create more electrons. All right, if you wear like wool, that will actually create more of electron count. You know what I'm saying? But it's important that you're grounding. Grounding is very important. And I can't stress the importance of removal of toxic metals from the body. All right. Chelation therapy is very important. Everybody should be utilizing chlorophyll. Things like cilantro, chlorella, spirulina. These are things, moringa is very good. These are things we should be consuming on a consistent basis. Moringa is actually 120 times more potent than vitamin C. Okay, most people are unaware of that. Let's see here. Now it says the pineal gland's ability to secrete melanin is sunlight dependent. Okay, the sun radiates full color spectrums of light. Full spectrum light striking the eyes, retina, nerves stimulates the pineal gland to secrete melanin. We talk about sun gazing. I'll tell you to sun gaze 24/7 to secrete melanin. Melanin turns into serotonin hormone and melatonin hormone. Black people that spend vast amounts of time indoors and out of the sunlight or are exposed to the visual pollution of artificial light, sunglasses, television, reflected light of concrete, bricks, highways and buildings, window glass, contact lenses, monitor television screens, and fluorescent lights. Wireless cell phones, earphones, and car tends to have mild depression. A polluted environment, public drinking, water, noise pollution, negative moods or social situations, acidic bodily conditions, lack of exercise, processed foods, okay, we talk about that, synthetic drugs, and computers decrease melanin production. Y'all heard all of that? It was a very long laundry list of things that actually decrease melanin. All right. I got to go over it again. Artificial light, sunglasses, television, reflected light off concrete bricks, highways and buildings. This is why they put us in the inner cities, right? This is why they put us in the urban, why they put us in the concrete, and why they put us around all of this. It's to decrease our melanin. They put us in this, and again, it's no coincidence that when you look at the city from an aerial view, it looks like a computer or a motherboard. It's a matrix simulation, and they keep us encased in it to where our melanin is being substantially weakened. All right, so we can't ascertain the God, but this is all strategically planned out and plotted. As I mentioned, Yakub's book of trigonology was thoroughly structured in regards to his attack to desecrate the God body. All right, so pay attention. Again, we talk about screen, fluorescent lights, wireless cell phones. All right, you see how much radiation. I tell you to get your EMF protection. Wireless cell phones, earphones, cars tend to have mild a polluted environment. All right, so any environment that's going to basically keep you in a low frequency. Negative moods. All right, basically raising cortisol has an effect on, and their whole objective is to keep you in a negative mood with the news, with everything they show us. So it's a lot of things that actually has a bearing on the melanin. All right, so you have to ask yourself, and then on top of what we eat and everything, what are they doing? And to keep us, so this is why I tell you, to get back up to the original reason of this meeting, if they wasn't messing with us, we would have the ability of full flight, Superman, everything you see in these comic books and everything. This is how we're basically Superman around a bunch of kryptonite and don't know it. That's what we are. All the snacks and all the processed food, all the ELF waves, all the EMF frequencies, all the low frequency music with a 404 hertz. All of that is basically kryptonite to the Superman. You feel me? This is facts. This is why you must take the necessary herbs, why you must cleanse yourself, why you must focus on integration of cosmic light, removing all parasites, refraining from foods in a box or can or anything processed. You feel me? We came from higher dimensional planes of existence, right? They got us down here on this firmament. Then we had to learn about Doritos, Twinkies, Swiss rolls, Twizzlers, all of this low frequency bull. And then got us addicted to it to the point where we completely forgot who we are. And we crave these things. You feel me? We have to get to the point where we're cleansing ourselves and purging ourselves off of that. You feel me? So this is what we're getting back to. All right. So it says melatonin supplements along with optimum nutrition, adequate darkness and sunlight are vital. Melatonin release is stimulated by noradrenaline, norepinephrine, low blood sugar, darkness, and dopamine. All right. So the addition of a melatonin supplement helps dopamine to claim the emotions and body, helps tryptophan to make serotonin, helps stop antibodies produced by corticosteroids, decreases the growth of certain types of cancers, causes sedation and sleep, and decreases the growth of tumors. So when you was giving your kids that melatonin, you was helping them more than you thought. Melatonin is actually something that's very helpful. In fact, most don't know that the extraterrestrials in the crop circles actually made the formula of melatonin in the crop circles, right? The formula for melatonin, and again, a lot of don't know this, was left in crop circles by extraterrestrial biological entities. The formula for melatonin. This is how powerful the melanin is because, again, it's linked to the glue of the cosmos. So we're basically personifications of melanin. Walking personifications of the sun. This is why when a geomagnetic storm comes and our 12-strand genetics operate, it's going to be a situation where we're very powerful. This is the reason why there's so many artificial intelligence, drones, and all of these things being created. They're very petrified of our ascension process. This is a fact. Some people may think I'm crazy when they hear me talk about us becoming an X-Men and becoming Avengers and us having these abilities. And some that aren't fully tapped in think it's far-fetched and think it won't happen in a lifetime, but they don't understand the concept of time is false. And that the gods and goddesses that are fighting in the astros, that are actually coming back with scars, that are actually having dreams of fighting the military and going through these different battles, know exactly what I'm talking about and can resonate with this message. All right, and pretty much in harmony with this message. Those that fly in the astros, that have experienced the quantum realm, all right, through transcendental states of awareness, know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so this is why. Listen, this is facts. All right, and again, I highly recommend dabbling into your plant medicines. All right, the shroom experience, iboga, various entheogens, okay? I had some of the gods and goddesses hit me up telling me they felt like Neo in the Matrix by utilization of the iboga. All right, it's helping them tap into different energies. All right, shrooms may be too scary for some because shrooms not for the faint at heart. It's not. If you have a lot of epigenetic trauma, a lot of scariness, and you got a lot of fear in you, then the shrooms may scare you. Okay, they may scare you. Because I'm not going to tell you to take a baby dose where you just see a little bit of color. I'm going to tell you to go 5 or higher. I'm going to tell you to go 5 or higher for a heroic dose. Because your objective is to break the fourth wall. It's not just to dabble in and see a few colors. It's not. And you're not doing it for a recreation. You're doing it for a spiritual exploration is what you're doing it for. And what you're partaking in these entheogens for. All right. Now, sometimes some of you that have fear may need it. You may need to get put in your place and actually fear, because when you come back after your trip wear off, you're going to be happy you're alive. You're going to be appreciative of life, and things you took a disregard for, you're going to be like, oh man, I appreciate that. You will step outside the physical construct of space and time and see beyond the veil and see the things that you thought was fake do exist. You will see things like black extraterrestrials, fairies, pixies, dragons, and these various entities that exist in higher dimensional realms. We see 0.035% of the light photon spectrum, not even 1%. Not even 1. We don't even see 1. Not only that, gods and goddesses, we don't even hear the full spectrum of our surrounding as well. When you take a entheogen or some type of psychedelic, you would hear different frequencies as well. You become more in tune and on point with the frequencies. We only use what they say 10% of our brain, but I believe it's less with all the chemtrails and GMOs and things of that nature. I believe some of us use more. If you're tapping in, you can use more than others, but it's a situation where we don't even use nearly as much. If you watch the movie Lucy, when she get into 100%, you see where she become pure black, dark matter energy, and then she eventually, you seen the melanin coming in on that neural melanin growing on Lucy. Watch the movie Lucy. That joint is fire. It's a fire movie called Lucy that shows her basically she gets into a situation. It's a throwback. I believe 2007 it came out, if I'm not mistaken, maybe earlier. But that movie's fire. She basically had this neurotropic, high advanced neurotropic that got into her blood, and it basically enhanced her to the point of a god, becoming a god. But the way the movie showed, it showed her in levels becoming a god, where it'll show her brain at 10%, then it'll jump to 25%. Now she's clairvoyant. Now she's psychic. Now she didn't go at 30%. Now she can actually tap into electrical systems and stuff like that. And as she enhanced more percentage of her brain, she became more godlike and had more abilities. So this is why they've been dumbing us down. And the only reason why we're a level 0 civilization is because we've been interrupted this whole time. But some of us been interrupting ourselves. They put us on a course to interrupt us and then set it up perfect to where we, from now on, interrupt ourselves throughout the rest of the duration of the process. where we would just continue to walk on a treadmill in regards to our consciousness. We get up, do the same thing. We scroll, we do the same thing, eat the same food, do the same things, and expect change. All right? And you know they say doing the same thing and hoping for change is the primary definition of insanity, right? So our objective at this particular point for ascension to Herbal consciousness got to be stepping out of our comfort zone. Because really the wrestling match is for the higher mind versus the heaven versus the hell state, which hell in the anagram for it is hill, the lower self, right? Lower nature. Lower nature is complacency at times, right? Being stagnant, not really knowing, and your higher self will fully know exactly what to do. Exactly what to do. But then also that's attributed to certain parasitic organisms that keep us in a low frequency as well. Our food, the things we consume, depletes your energy, it depletes your serotonin. Naturally, it raises more cortisol, right? Everything that these deletes do, the frequencies, the food, as everything is predicated on keeping you in a low frequency. So your primary focal point should be ascension to Herbal consciousness and raising your frequency. Ensuring that you're elated, finding, and the way you do that is through gratitude. The way you actually achieve a high frequency is by realizing what you're grateful for. I'd love for you to kick knowledge to my tribe anytime. I mean, we are your tribe. We all reflections. We are reflections. So I am kicking knowledge to your tribe right now, God. You feel me? That's a fact. So we're gonna finish delving in a little bit. All right. So melanin hormones. Now this is important though, because most people don't understand really what we are. All right. And then I got the other book, The Melaninite Children, which actually talks about beings that from interterrestrial beings that were ancient ones. Right. And these beings actually were these beings don't age. The beings in inner earth could live for thousands of years. Us on the top surface are the only ones that age because of all the nefarious toxins in the frequency. All right, but the beings in inner earth and Shambhala and Agartha, which, Shambhala actually was the sin of Allah, is a situation where it's bliss. It's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's a utopia. And if the frequency is so high that those beings don't age and the animals and things of that nature are a lot bigger, you probably don't even have to eat. It's a situation where this is a very parasitic plane of existence. Very parasitic plane of existence. There's so many parasites in our bodies right now. You feel me? So again, black walnut, sweet wormwood, and whole cloves not only kills parasites, but also eradicates their eggs. Okay? Again, this is something that's necessary that we do. Once you start doing that, you're going to notice yourself fasting a lot more. All right? And that's why I dropped weight and lost weight, because I realized I started studying. I used to snore. I'm gonna share with the collective. I used to have more of a snoring issue and all of that when I was heavier in weight. All right, but as I refrained from the processed food and cut back off the refined sugar, all right, being addicted to things like brownies, Reese's. Because listen, I'm going through the process with y'all. When I'm talking about holistic remedies and stuff, I'm still having a sugar addiction. So I'm still learning through the process. And as I start gaining more knowledge, because sources using me to basically teach this information, right? I start applying it to self. I start studying more, learning different things, and actually cutting out a lot of different variables and things I was attached to. Started fasting more and incorporating a lot of these things. All right? Because all of us have to fight certain addictions and machinations in order to ascertain Christ consciousness. We have to get to that point. But the main thing is really, because mind over matter is the concept of wrestling with the flesh. Your flesh is going to desire ice cream, the brownies, the cakes, and the cookies and stuff. We came up on these, especially if you're an 80s baby. We grew up on this stuff. The ice cream truck coming down the street with the music. We was addicted to these things coming up, right? So it took us to break a lot of those cycles and a lot of those epigenetic memories that, listen, the other day, no lie, I haven't had no beer or nothing in a minute, like alcohol. And I tasted it for some reason. I'm like, why am I tasting a beer that I used to drink and I haven't had no alcohol? It's like parasites can send chemicals to you to make you taste things, make you crave things that you know you shouldn't consume. That's a fact. These are sentient extraterrestrial beings. You have to remember that. 82, I'm 82, 1982. Virgo, double Virgo at that. And Virgo deals with Mercury. We deal with communication. This is one of the reasons why I rhyme and I can come up with words and vernacular on the fly. It's associated with Mercury. You know what I'm saying? Piece that we are the zodiac combined though, because we all existed through through each zodiac at one point. You know what I mean? So even the concept of zodiacs, yes, while you're in this avatar, you're more anchored to that energy currently, but you could tap into the energy of any zodiac at any given time. Even Ophiuchus, which is the 13th zodiac, the hidden one. We have the ability of tapping into all zodiacs, to be honest, especially if you're primordial. When you have a soul, you have essence to all energies, all cosmic luminaries. We existed on multiple star systems. So we have access to all zodiacs, to be honest. So, you know, this is why I don't really overanalyze the piece to the Pisces, piece to all the zodiacs. Much love to everybody. You know what I'm saying? See, we got to get to the point where we realize that all of this is, as far as the stars, we are children of the stars. And if you're primordial, you derive from source. So, which means you could tap into all of that energy. Even stars that's nowhere near not in the Milky Way galaxy. All right. You know, different stars and different star systems and the Black Eye galaxy and so forth. And, you know, the various other star systems. We have the ability of tapping into all of that. You know what I'm saying? Some of us come from completely different star systems. And a lot of us decided to just incarnate back at this time to help raise the frequency. Even if you're watching this video and think you're learning, you're actually here to help raise the frequency, and you're here at the right time. Peace and love to you. You're here at the right time. Even if you're watching this and you're taking notes right now and you think that you're learning, you're just remembering for a mission that you set for, that you actually have prepared for yourself. The higher self set this mission for you and actually taking you through various school systems and classes. And this is just one of the classes you're in right now. Thank you for joining me. You feel me? And I do this in the astral realm, and teach the gods and goddesses different ways to ascertain and step into Christ consciousness. All right. And how we can really elevate. So, now, again, we was touching on melanin and powers. Now, I made you aware, we talked about how the melanin is a conductor of electricity, okay? The average human actually, and again, if you have more melanin, you conduct more electricity. This is a fact. So, with that being said, now consider Dr. Sebi, all right? And why he wanted us to be alkaline. And then think about a battery, which you hear the word alkaline, a charge, right? When you're at a 7, you're alkaline. When you're anything under that 7, you're acidic. So anything at 7, no virus can survive in it. No virus at all. So if you're taking the chlorophyll, you're taking all of the parasite cleanses and all of the necessary herbs, the cordyceps militaris and stuff like that. Black seed oil. And you know what? The thing is, I don't hear enough of the gods and goddesses utilizing the black seed oil. Black seed oil is something that I highly recommend utilization of on the daily basis. You should be putting it on your skin. You should be taking it, putting it on your hair, everywhere. Because, again, it's rich in thymoquinone and fights diseases like cancer. All right? And it also strengthens the melanin. A black seed oil does. Nigella sativa, all right? It's going to strengthen the melanin. It's going to help you substantially. So I highly recommend utilization of black seed oil. I have it available on Holistic Remedies. I have the best black seed oil tasting one with low taste. It doesn't taste strong. One of the best black seed oils that you can actually taste, and it's not pungent. But again, I like the strong taste sometimes when I taste the black seed oil. I feel like it's doing more. I'll be like, ooh. But the one I have is so smooth that you can take it calm and be like, you can give it to your kids. The black seed oil I have on Holistic Remedies, you can give to your children because it's good. They'll like to take it because it's that good. You feel me? It's it's 2% thymoquinone, which is stronger than most black seed oils, about 1.5%. Mine's is 2% thymoquinone, which is very strong. I was contacted by the Lyrans in my projection recently, and there are many more recently. Yes, peace, God. Yes, the Lyrans, you might have an aspect of the Lyrans then. You feel me? You may have a connection with those beings. I used black seed oil when I got sick with vid. Careful with too much black seed oil. It's excellent, but daily is not needed. Very powerful. Take it moderate. I take it all the time. I don't have no problems. Actually, it's been helping me. So maybe that's your biological makeup in conjunction with thymoquinone or Nigella sativa. But for me, I take it daily, put it on my skin. I love it. And the reason I take it every day is because they try to hit us with cancerous things every day. Different chemtrails and stuff every day. You know, so I use it daily, you know, to each his own, okay? You know, I will consider what you're saying, to each his own. But, again, I also recommend cordyceps militaris to lower cholesterol. Mushrooms, reishi, any of those mushrooms, lion's mane, is going to be phenomenal, and you can take it daily, okay? And these things are going to be great for clearing your bad microbiome of the gut. which is pretty much the epicenter of parasitic organisms and how they intrude through your neural synapses, all right, by way of your neural network. So again, these herbs are something that I highly recommend people. Now, one thing I noticed is once I started incorporating the herbs on the daily basis, I became way less hungry because my body had the necessary energy and nutrients where I didn't have to engorge myself with food. I mean, and I literally take the powder extracts. Like I could literally take a scoop of black maca root, little cordyceps militaris, and probably some Fidigo agrestis, and I'll be good. You know what I'm saying? And I'll take my liquids. I'll take a little bit of orange. You know what I'm saying? There's some colloidal silver in the black seed oil, and I'm good. And I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll fast. I'll drink my alkaline water. I'll put shilajit in the water because most water is dead water. The concept of living water is water that moves moves and collects minerals along its travel. All right. The water that's sitting, especially in a plastic bottle, is composed of BPAs and microplastics. All right. Which have very adverse effects on your neurophysiology and in your endocrine system. The BPAs are composed of atrazine as well as other xenoestrogens. That's a fact. Okay. So when you're drinking water out of a plastic bottle, you are consuming xenoestrogens. This is why I also promote black maca root, because it's very good for the endocrine system. Black maca root is phenomenal, all right, for the endocrine system. We got to get back onto this point. Again, I keep telling y'all copper bracelets. Your copper bracelets. I wear 2 of them, all right, because they're good for RF shielding, which is radio frequencies, all right? Now, listen, I could show you something. You could take a plant, which is a biological entity, a plant, right? And if you can put a speaker on it, and not the plant's music, but it was a test conducted where radio frequencies were playing through the plants. All right? Which means that radio frequencies also can play through us. You ever had a song pop in your head out of nowhere? You're like, well, I just thought of that song. I don't even like that song. It's because you're a conductor, or a radio conductor. Radio frequencies are invisible. They pass through you sometimes. And because the lead, cadmium, and mercury and other various metals attached to you, the radio frequency comes by way of a thought process. Which meant you'll hear a song sometime and be like, oh, you know what I mean? I know that, you just thought the song came to your head, but it was just really because you're a radio. But when you wear things like this, it protects you from RF shielding. So copper bracelets are very good forms of protection. All right. And the gods and goddesses have been getting more of the copper bracelets. I have been seeing the copper bracelets, so they are resonating with that message because copper is very strong. And it's also going to be great for psychic protection, believe it or not. All right. Once you wear the copper, a lot of the beings and malevolent frequencies don't like the energy of copper. Or don't like the energy of certain metallics and metals. Like, for example, the Fae doesn't like iron, for example. When a lot of iron came into a place in the Renaissance age, when they started utilizing a lot of iron, this is when the Fae start leaving and going back to the center of the earth, because they don't like iron. They don't like being around certain metals and stuff like that. You feel me? So certain crystals like pyrite and things of that nature are very good forms of spiritual protection. Now, some people have a connection with the Fae. Would anklets function as well? Yes. If it's a crystal, yeah, of course. Anything, if it's crystal wrapped around you, connected to your vein, like anything like this, your vein or your right here near the Achilles or copper around there, yeah, it's gonna, yeah, most certainly, because it blocks powers and burns them. Yeah, it blocks them. See, a lot of the Fae, they have the ability of psychic intrusion. Okay, very telepathic beings. All right, and they have set a lot of Fae traps, and they do have the ability of blending in with different dimensions. They could be in our dimension 1 minute, you could turn around and not see them. Same as the Shaggies, or what some people deem as the Bigfoot. Those are interdimensional beings from the constellation of Orion, believe it or not. All right, and they're very intelligent, contrary to how they look. They're very intelligent. They're actually us from the past, but just they upgraded and they have the ability of traveling and all of that. There was a god that came forward and told his story about his encounter with the Shaggies and how it basically walked him to a tree portal, brought him to a whole other world where it was Bigfoot beings like us walking around, driving cars, watching TV, coming home from work. But there was this in a Bigfoot world, in a whole different world where there was Bigfoots instead of humans. And he told his story. He came, and I believe him. I believe anything is possible. I believe in the multiverse. I believe we have the ability of quantum leaping to different realities and timelines through transcendental states of awareness and things like astral projection, right? But when you see these Bigfoots, a lot of times you see them, they'll walk behind a tree and then you'll come and see them and they'll be gone. Like they kind of found a dimensional portal or wormhole. They can literally be boop and be gone. You won't see them walk past the other side type shit. You will walk around a tree and they just gone. You feel me? These are interdimensional beings. Now, sometimes some of them can cloak themselves too. Like almost like the Predator. You feel me? Like these are higher dimensional beings. We just kind of got out of touch with our abilities to cloak and shapeshift. Now, some beings can shapeshift. All right? There's shamans right now that can shapeshift and transform into a panther or a wolf. Right? At the peyote festivals and stuff. Where they'll shapeshift into a panther right in front of you. Real talk. Right? They had aspects of Lyran. Right? They were these beings. I'm talking about some of them could transform into wolves. I'm talking about some of that. Look at some of the ancient indigenous Indian cultures and civilizations, why they revered the wolves and their ancestors coming back as these various animals, because some of them seen shapeshifters that can actually take on these various archetypes, all right, and get into these different bodies and things of that nature. Also, the same thing with shadow beings as well. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But see, now, as far as these shapeshifters, the reason why they can shapeshift is because we are primarily composed of water, and water can take the form of any image. So once you learn how to manipulate your molecular water structure, you can shapeshift. I know that's the scientific explanation of it, basically. It's them learning how to manipulate their molecular water structure. You heard Bruce Lee say, we are water. When you pour everything you pour water in, it takes the shape off, right? So with that being said, on a quantum level, once we have the ability, this is how the Anunnaki had the ability of forming from matter to a gaseous vapor, and why they were deemed as Etherians. All right? It's pretty much because, we come from them. We have that same ability. And again, we can activate our Merkaba, which is our celestial chariot. And this is all by way of activation of the Ida and Pingala, once we get to activating our Merkaba. And this is what we are on our way to. This is what we are on our way to, and why we have to cleanse ourselves, why we have to get to the point where we're taking the necessary herbs, while we're doing the necessary exercises and things of that nature, and training ourselves, and making sure that we're prepared for light code activation. You feel me? Let's see here. So, now, in reference to more things that can build melanin up, some of the things I recommend, I may mention of Shilajit. All right, most things that are composed of the black substance are similar to neuromelanin, okay? Shilajit is very synonymous to neuromelanin, very synonymous to it, all right? Consumption of Shilajit actually does strengthen the 5 melanins. You have 5 melanins. Now, if you're of 9 ether descent, you have what's called eumelanin. If you're of 6 ether, you have what's called pheomelanin, okay? Eumelanin is one that's more of a conductor of electricity, okay? This is, again, why typically they show individuals of African descent displaying powers of electricity, okay? Like your characters like Static and various other characters, they typically have electric abilities, all right? Shango, we know Shango had electric and fire, all right? So this is why they actually display the powers of electricity. You probably walked before and shocked somebody, right? Have you ever walked across a carpet, went to go touch a doorknob, or went to go touch somebody else's hand and you release a little static electricity? This is because your eumelanin is a conductor of electric, all right? And again, I'm not saying pheomelanin has a conduct, because all humans conduct electric. A spirit is electric. Everybody has a spirit, okay? Remember, no matter what race or race you are, you have a spirit, right? Which means that you are composed of electricity. The soul is magnetism, all right? So this is why if you have a soul, you should be very careful what thoughts you have in this construct, because your thoughts basically is what attract things to this paradigm. All right. They need our thoughts and our magnetism to create this construct. All right. So this is why they poison us and keep us from higher dimensional planes of consciousness and use deceptive technology such as the Black Knight satellite and things of that nature. Fluoride, which we know was used in Nazi Germany, and is also rat poison. Okay. If you're still brushing your teeth with fluoride, then you definitely need to stop right now. You know, I'm not going to judge you, because I at one point had to learn as well. But fluoride is definitely something that's not good for you. All right. The reason they started using fluoride is because they seen that it helped their mice teeth, and they ran with it. Even though they known there was poison and everything. And Crest was the first company that came out with it. Like I believe in like 1865, if I'm not mistaken. Crest was the first company to start pushing the fluoride out. So it's not something that I highly recommend. And again, Hitler used it in the concentration camps. All right, so if you're brushing your teeth with fluoride, you're using something that Hitler used in Nazi Germany during the concentration camps. Laundry detergent, toothpaste, everything. That's a fact. Everything, the stuff they spray in the sky, the air, air fresheners, the cologne we put on, the deodorant, everything is. But see, I'm gonna tell you another secret here. Okay, we are alchemists. We are alchemical scientists. We have the ability of actually speaking into things and changing the molecular structure of it just with our words. All right. So this is where you envelop the energy of not being a hypochondriac, not having a hypochondriac energy, right? Because the hypochondriac energy sometimes can manifest certain ailments that you have once you have that hypochondriac energy. You know, you get into the mindset of being like, oh, this gonna get me sick, that's gonna get me sick, this gonna get me sick, and then you eventually manifest that ailment, right? I tell the story of a gentleman who shared a room with another gentleman, right? He shared a room with the gentleman, and the one gentleman had cancer, all right? And their medical records got switched. Somehow, the guy who didn't have inkling of cancer, his documentation came on him, and the doctor told him, oh man, you have cancer. And then when he said, oh man, I have cancer, he ended up manifesting cancer into his body. Because his documents, his correspondence he had that correspondence. And said out loud that he had cancer. So your words are very powerful. On a molecular quantum level, when you say something or just look at something, you atomize it. You change it. Just by looking at it or giving it your focus or your attention. This is why you don't pay attention to the trolls. Why you don't pay any attention to the archons. Water manifesting definitely works. But in an earth placement, could earth magic be more powerful for me? You know what? To be honest with you, goddess, I'm going to tell you like this. You have all the elements in you already. I'm going to explain it like this. We are earth, wind, water, fire, and ether combined, just in these avatars, right? So in essence, we give ourselves a permission slip to make things work. So what I mean by that is if you think earth will work more, and because you have more of a connection with the earth element, then you can manifest it to make it work more based on your energy and your intent on it to work more. That's how much of a goddess you are. You have the ability of making it work more just based on merely on your perception alone. And again, when you look at the physical body, we earthborn, which is the earth. We have our fire in our solar plexus chakra. Our heat, that's the fire. Water, we compose primarily of water, right? And then we're ether as well. We're all the 5 elements combined, really. So really, in essence, we really don't need any tools. The only reason we started utilizing certain tools is because we fell from consciousness. And then we slowly started utilizing tools, tarot cards, other different things to actually try to have a connection with 4th dimension or higher dimensional planes. We started utilizing mediums and different arbitrators, in a sense, to basically connect us to the spiritual realm. When in essence, we can all do it ourselves. All right. So this is something we got to actually find our way back to, is realizing that everything is within self. And that we are all the elements combined. When they say Captain Planet with your powers combined, heart and all of that, that's really the embodiment of your primordial essence in its entirety. Right? And then they had the woman Gaia. She was the matriarch. She was the personification of the earth element as well, just like you just made mention of. You feel me? So, I mean, yes, I'm earth element as well. I'm Virgo. I'm an earth element. You know what I'm saying? So, I noticed that when I manifest outside, when I go outside and I ground and I communicate my request with the trees, that things tend to happen more for me. You feel me? When I'm outside and I'm with the trees and I'm communicating with nature, I tend to feel a lot better being in nature. You know what I mean? So, as being an earth element, yes, it probably will work for you. Like some individuals are water element and they have to go near the beach or sit by the water. You feel me? Some individuals are fire element, and when they got a candle burning or incense lit, and that plasma energy is burning at the tip of the fire, it makes them feel better. You feel me? We are the embodiment of all elements. You feel me? So yes, in certain instances, with your star alignment, it probably would be more conducive to actually be around those environments at times, because as above, so below. The protons, neutrons, and electrons in your body is aligned with the celestial luminaries. With the microcosm is aligned with the macrocosm. So yes, for real, I manifest with just mantras and visualizations. We are connected to every little thing. Yes, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a big fact. But see, again, primarily the most thing is just making sure that we keep ourselves healthy, family. making sure we keep ourselves healthy, and not only that, that we're operating wholeheartedly out of love, no prejudice, no racism, nothing that the draconians really implemented on this construct or this paradigm. Realizing that we have to actually separate from the Jerebat, which again was the nefarious Anunnaki, the jinns, that basically amalgamated in the physical form of those beings like Taranush and Halal, that were your hidden hand, those descendants of Enlil, that can live for thousands of years, that work for the governments and nefarious factions. These are the ones that perpetuate racism and that perpetuate prejudiceness and actually create that diversity on the planet. They want to actually create, this is also the reason why they created monotheistic religion, because they knew it would create diversity, because the worship gene is still embedded in a lot of individuals, which is the VMAT2, the vesicular monoamine transporter that the Anunnaki added. Because again, a lot of these beings had God complexes. They had God complexes. All right, so if our objective, and we were, we were made in an image. So this is why a lot of people have prejudice, racism, and God complexes. So as we ascend into Christ consciousness, part of the thing is realizing the creators and realizing some of their programming and their nefarious ways in order to combat some of the encryptions and systems that were put into us. Because they did these things, they did these key codes in our avatar to keep us at a certain frequency, to keep us low from ascending. So once you unplug all of the racism, unplug all of the epigenetic trauma and all of the things that were indoctrinated through our ancestors, right? Then you have the ability of reprogramming yourself and stepping into the 5D. We've been anchored to the third dimension based on all of the things that the draconians been implementing. By aligning